it's Way here, and if you're anything like me, you might fancy yourself a bit of an iPhone photographer. So today we're actually going to a free workshop at Apple to learn how to take photos on an iPhone. My claim to fame is that I am the artistic director of my friend group, and here is some of my work. I'm going to the workshop today because I feel like I can sharpen up my skills and be able to take better content for myself and for, just for memory purposes. So today we're going down to the Apple on 5th Ave, and we're going to be learning how to use our iPhones most optimally. So I found out that Apple actually did free workshops from a woman that I saw on TikTok, and I'm gonna put her TikTok here. And so she's fully the reason why I found out about this, and I'm gonna head out and hopefully have some fun. We'll walk around the city and we'll have a really good day, and we might even stop to get some lunch. So let's get into a quick fit check so we can get out of here. So I have this black top on from Amazon. It's off the shoulder. I have on my Madewell jeans, and y'all know how I feel about my Madewell jeans. And then I'm putting on my little earrings from H&M. Fragrance of the day. I literally have like 2 pumps of this left. Not much, but I love this perfume and I get so many compliments when I wear it. No bracelets or anything today because I am running late, and this is my banana overcoat that I just bought a couple of weeks ago, and this shirt for some reason always comes up when I put my coat on, so I just leave it like that and I'll fix it when I get to where I'm going. And the bag of the day. This is the bag. It feels very cute, very chic. I gotta go. This chain I bought separately from the bag, so it did not come with the bag, but I love to wear it with the bag. But this is what we got for today. I'll see you guys down there. All right, so quick question. Am I the only person who can't do anything without having a snack first? Just finished eating my snack and I just got to Apple. We're gonna go inside in a bit to get started on our workshop. And I just wanted to come and say hi before we do that. I feel like I would not be who I am if I didn't come here at the wrong time. I'm here early. I thought the date that I was supposed to be here was today, but it's actually next week, the 28th. But thankfully they have space in a workshop coming up today, and they'll be able to get me in there. This is like true wit fashion.
Now, cleanup is exclusive to photos. It's not
oh my gosh.
Video. So assuming
having lunch, killing time again because I had the wrong day and the wrong time. So we're at Uniqlo shopping a little bit for my husband because he had to get a few couple like basics for his wardrobe. So we're killing time and we're getting a couple of things, but I think we're done and we're gonna head out now. So I should be seeing you at the Apple store.
Photos with their iPhone. Even I should ask, does anyone take photos with their iPhone? Obvious question.
So after all of that bopping around, we are finally here and we got a seat. I'm ready to learn what I can learn today from Apple because they phones be costing $1,200. So I'm trying to get what I can get today for free. They're wrapping up a children's workshop where kids can learn how to make their own emojis. So next we'll be learning how to take fire photos on the iPhone.
And so calling all my photographers, anyone who wants to get some techniques to help them take better photos on iPhone, that'll be starting in 8 minutes here at the video wall. If you want to pre-sign up, you can scan this QR code or just hang out. We'll sign you in as we start our session. As you can see, it's a full day.
Photo studio in their pocket. The real trick to it is understanding, okay, this is what's inside of my toolbox here, and this is how I make the most of the tools that I have access to tell the story that I really want to tell. You're gonna take your photograph from pretty good or really good even to phenomenal. So that is where we're gonna spend most of our time. As we move on throughout the day, we'll probably, I think this one might be my favorite because it's something I really stand for. Setting up is just as important as taking the photograph. It helps me achieve what I envision. And this is a quote by Fede Cortez from South Africa. We'll give you all of those other types of photo modes that you are familiar with. Beautiful. Now, right above that, of course, you will recognize that big white shutter button. To snap a photo, you just distortion. Oops, pretend I didn't do that. And photographic distortion can look like this. Look how big my hand looks compared to my face if it's a little bit closer to that camera. If I were to go like this, right, my face doesn't necessarily look like this in real life. It has nothing to do with the way that my features are not see those things appearing. So if I were to zoom into, let's say I'm gonna zoom into 2.9 right here. I got some bad news about those decimal points. If you land anywhere in between the lenses, or if you zoom in past your last lens, so let's say I zoom into 20x right here, I am pretty quickly, oh, please show me something on the ceiling here. There we go. I am pretty quickly losing quality to my photograph. There we go. This. Now, if you're taking a picture of a person and you like that person, this is not the adjustment for them. Not the adjustment for them at all.
workshop, here are some of the things that you can look forward to learning. I'm not sure if every workshop has the same exact lesson plan or if the instructors are pulling from their own knowledge of what they feel like would be the most important to learn. Some of the things that you can expect to learn are how to use basic features on the iPhone camera, how to choose the lens that you want depending on what your goal is for that photo. Basics of editing a photo like brightness, vibrancy, contrast, saturation, sharpness, and things of that nature. So you can expect to learn how to properly use portrait mode, how to use the new feature on the iPhone 17. I believe it's on all of the iPhone 17s, don't quote me on this, but how to use the cleanup tool on there, which is an AI powered feature. We also went over how to take the perfect selfie for different circumstances, like a work ID or a headshot, even just a selfie while you're out seeing the sights. And so I kind of wanted to do a little demo of the things that I learned, and then I'll also show you some photos that I've taken since doing the photography class at Apple. Then I'll kind of give you a baseline of how my photos looked before I went to the workshop and after I went to the workshop, and we'll see if we see any difference there. I feel like I'm a pretty good photographer when it comes to like taking pictures for content. And then I'm also like, not to brag, like my friend group's like designated photo takers. So I've done many of iPhone photo shoots. So I do have a pretty good baseline because I did take like a general photography class back in college, and I feel like that helped me to really take pretty good photos. So something that I feel like is worth going to the workshop for is really, it may sound kind of basic to you, but learning exactly what each of the buttons on the iPhone camera actually are, because I feel like there are so many buttons and we don't really know in what circumstances to use them or how to use them to really step up our photos. Another thing that I'm walking away with is the understanding of how dark mode works on photos. So from what I took away from the workshop, night mode really works by capturing the light from several different photos and layering them on top of each other. So if you notice, if you move or your subject moves in a dark mode photo, of course you'll get a blur. You will also not get really good lighting out of the photo, because in order for it to capture those light sources, you or the subject has to be stationary so that it can pick up on all those different light sources from the different photos that it's layering in order to get you that one final photo that turns out really good. We also learned how to adjust the f-stop, which is how to blur the background so that the subject can be clear and the subject can really be emphasized, which I really thought was cool because I am a fan of portrait mode, but one thing that I didn't know is that you could adjust the f-stop after the fact when you're going back to edit photos. So you can decide that, you know what, I want the background to be a little bit more clearer, or I want the background to be a little bit more blurred so that the subject can be emphasized a bit more. And as someone with dark skin, I really liked learning about how to use the vibrancy setting on iPhone when you're editing your photos. And I learned that when you're editing photos with that option, you'll see that colors in the photo that are not people will become richer, and the skin tone of the subjects in the photo won't be affected by what's changing around skin tone. And I really liked that, because if you're trying to adjust for brightness or you're trying to adjust for just to get a little bit more color in the photos, sometimes those settings can really make skin come off not really that natural. So I liked that there's an option to control just how much skin tone changes in photos. And then lastly, this is something that I use, but I feel like it's a feature that most people don't know about, and it's basically how to draw light from different parts of a photo. Say you're in a setting where the lighting is pretty low. This is kind of something that you can use in lieu of like night mode or dark mode. Basically what you're going to do is open up your camera. You're going to go where that little square is that has the sun near it, and you're going to put that at a light point in the video or in the picture, and you can actually lock in on that. You're going to hold down on that, lock in, and you can scroll up or down to put more light into the photo or to put less light into the photo. And that's something that my husband actually taught me how to do, and I just feel like because we went over it in the workshop, I wanted to go ahead and share about that because I don't think a lot of people know about that. And so by now you've seen some of the things that we learned when we were in the class, but I kind of wanted to give my 2 cents about what I was able to take away from it. So I'm not going to go in any particular order, but these are the things that stood out to me. For those of us who might feel like we aren't really that photogenic, there might be something to that in terms of what lens you're using, because from what I learned in the class, sometimes figures and people do come out differently depending on what lens you're using, because some of the lenses on the iPhone tend to be flatter and some of them tend to be more rounder. Depending on which lens you're using, you can get kind of like a fishbowl effect, or you can get subjects that look bigger than what they're supposed to look like, or even longer than what they're supposed to look like. We also learned that the numbers on, I guess, the zoom that you see when you're trying to like zoom in on a photo or zoom in to take a photo, those numbers all correspond with a lens size. However, when you're choosing a selection that has decimals behind the number, you're always going to end up with a slightly distorted photo because those photos are artificially being zoomed in. And if you know about trying to zoom in on a photo and use that like cropping a photo, it's kind of similar to that where the image is going to become distorted. So what was recommended to us is that we use 3 lenses. I believe some of the lenses, depending on your phone, may be numbered differently. I have the iPhone 17 Pro Max, and on my phone it was recommended that I use the 0.5 lens, the 2, and the 4 lens. Those are the lenses that correspond to the actual 3 lenses on the phone. Depending on what you're trying to accomplish with those, you'll decide on which lens to use depending on what your goal is for the photo. And how you figure out which lens is what, she taught us a trick of covering each lens to see just how zoomed in or zoomed out the photo looks and selecting the lens based off of that. If you're wanting to take better photos on your iPhone, I would urge you to play around with the lenses and play around with what different subjects look like before it's time to have an outing with friends where you're trying to put your best foot forward and take really good pictures for them. So one thing I really liked about the class was we really learned like the basics, from what buttons do what on the camera to how night mode is able to capture really great pictures even when the lighting isn't really optimal. So at this point, I kind of want to just take a moment to share some of the photos that I have taken before going to the workshop and after going to the workshop. I haven't really taken many photos since then, but here's what I have in some different circumstances. Alright, so that is it for me. Thank you so much for watching this, and if you enjoyed this video, please put a little camera emoji down in the comments, and if you learned something from this video, please go ahead and do that. And if you're new here, please subscribe. I upload every Sunday at 2 p.m. So if you're interested in seeing vlogs like this one, shopping vlogs, getting my hair done, different types of activities like that, I hope that you'll stay around, and I'll see you next week. Bye.